So, Carly, how are you enjoying KimoriCon, especially on Halloween as of today?
So the convention staff has already been incredible. The setup for the con is so flawless. Everything has been executed wonderfully. I'm really enjoying the overall process of maneuvering through the con. I haven't really been able to sit at my booth, so I haven't really met anybody yet, but I'm really excited to do that. Halloween is my favorite holiday, so I'm excited to be here sharing it with so many people.
So, my telling the folks at home who may not be familiar, what is it that you do? Because I know you not only do you voice acting, but you're also a content creator on YouTube as well. What's that been all like?
So, content creation is actually allowing me to pursue my passion of acting. I've been an actor since I was 5. My mom threw me up on a stage at our community theater, and I did stage acting pretty consistently until I graduated from high school. And then voice acting was something that I kind of slipped and fell into. I didn't think that I would ever be able to be a voice actor. I thought it was for like super famous people, you know? I didn't think that any average Joe Schmo could be a voice actor, but here I am. And then YouTube is something that I've only been doing for a year, but we do anime reaction content. So I get to talk about my position as an English voice actor, and I also get to give some insight as to how production is done on the Japanese side, what little I know of the Japanese side. And obviously, if we watch dubs, I can give them my insight there. And people really love that. And I get to do it with my partner. And it's just a wonderful thing that we've been growing for a while. And now I get to balance my whole life with a day job as a YouTuber that gets to watch anime, and then I get to go voice an anime. So when people ask like, "What's your job?" I'm gonna just say, "Anime." No need to elaborate. Just all things anime.
Now, I imagine being a content creator, it can be time consuming because I imagine, with anyone who's content creating, the editing, I imagine the editing can take a long time too with your content as well.
I'm spoiled. I have not done any editing for the YouTube channel. That is all my wonderful boyfriend and partner who did that at the start. And then once we were able to, we hired editors. So he would edit a video, take an hour and a half to 2 hours to edit a video down into a 12 to 16-minute video. And he's a wonderful editor, but it's exhausting if you are both in front of the camera and then also on the back end of things. Yeah, yeah. So we now have two amazing editors. We're looking for a third editor. It's we have this incredible team that loves the content that we're creating, and it's really wonderful to just see it all come together. I actually had a moment recently where I was like, it was literally last night. I was like a little emotional because I was like, I'm just having these intensely profound feelings of gratitude beyond what I ever thought imaginable because our team is so wonderful and supportive. And it's not just, our team of editors and all that. It's also like our friends and our family have just been so, yeah, yeah, it's been really wonderful. But yeah, I highly recommend outsourcing for editing if you ever get the opportunity because it is so worth it to just be able to focus on one real aspect
One of
to
my
it.
favorite content creators, they have like a big team of editors too.
Yeah. Yep.
So now I do voice acting. I've noticed you had the opportunity to voice Harley Quinn and Suicide Squad Isekai. What was that like being able to voice such an iconic character? Because she doesn't have any voice actors, and this is like her first like anime appearance as well. What was all that like for that?
So Harley is actually a character that I have loved since I was a kid. So I would watch the animated series with my father, and then when I ran out of Harley content on there, I was like, okay, I need more. So I actually turned to the comics, which is how I got into reading comics. And then I started downloading DLC. Like there's a DLC, I think it's called Harley's Revenge.
From Arkham
Arkham.
City, where you
Yes.
basically Harley Quinn should wear that basically lets go a full on goth after the Joker dies.
Yeah, yeah, she goes nuts. And I just did everything I could to consume Harley Quinn content. I cosplayed Harley Quinn on three separate occasions. The first one was when I was 14, and then again at 15, and then again at 16. And then I would do. I was hired to go to birthday parties as Harley Quinn. Yeah, I was a costume performer at birthday parties. I heavily took inspiration from Arlene Sorkin. Um, I know Arlene is queen, and people really loved my accent and my voice for Harley and my energy as Harley. I and then as a voice actor, I never in my wildest dreams imagined I'd ever get to voice Harley, and it's just another one of those things where if you think it's not going to happen, you're not giving yourself enough credit for what you're capable of and what the world can give to you, sort of thing. And when I got cast, I was at work and I was a nanny for 14 years. And so I was with this toddler and I got the news and I was shaking so hard I had to sit down. And the kiddo's parent was work from home. So she was upstairs in her office and she yells down and she goes, "Did you get it?" And I screamed. And the toddler cried. It was very scared, but he's okay. He's great. And it was just it's another one of those things that I think about and like when you're on a roller coaster and you go down and you get that full like electric feeling in your body. I get that feeling every time I think about like wow, I've gotten to play Harley not once but twice. I'm her in the Batman Ninja versus Yakuza League movie too. Yeah.
Does that version of Harley and your Isekai version, do they have the same, or what's it like getting into Harley? Like you said, I know you took some inspiration from people like Harley Sorkin, and you also got someone like Kara Strong, who's also plays Harley.
So when I went into voice Harley for the audition, I was actually told no accent. And I was like, okay, this is going to be hard for me because anytime I even think Harley, I immediately want to do accent.
Like that Boston, New York
Yeah. And so I did what I call, and this is something I've totally made up myself, I call it the Harley quirk. And so it sounds like she's having fun with every word. She's chewing on every single word and she's got those inflections and it's not an accent, but it's a quirk. And so people go back and forth in the comments on YouTube actually like, was she doing an accent? That's the worst accent I've ever heard. It's like, guys, I'm not doing an accent. I'm not doing an
Not
accent.
every version of Harley has an accent. Look at Katie Cuoco in the Harley Quinn series. She doesn't have an accent. It's just pretty much her with just a little bit of a quirk, like you said.
Right. Yep. I think that the lack of accent is being canonized now. I think it's like,
I've noticed.
yeah.
In the past like 30 years since she was introduced in the animated series to, now.
Yeah, I think that because we have so much Harley Quinn content, they're trying to, and this is just what I think. I don't know. I think they're trying to steer away from the same regurgitated accent and cadence and timbre to the voice that keeps getting done again and again and again. And I really like that because I feel like not having to do the accent gave me room to make Harley really my own. And so it's I get to be my favorite character but put my own twist on it. So I think that that's really good for actors to not have to be fully imitating something every single time.
Two more questions. What kind of impact has this had on you all together as a whole? Just doing the acting, the voice acting, and the content creating and everything.
I am the happiest I have ever been. I have had a long, not long. I'm not even 30 yet. I'm 29. I have had a time with depression and anxiety and being able to pursue my passion of acting and not have the stress of like, okay, I have to work a 9 to 5 every single day. Like content creation has taken this weight off my shoulders and it's still work. Don't get me wrong. It is absolutely still work.
Views, subscribers, like a certain amount,
Yep.
monetization and everything.
Yes.
Like, I think some people don't realize that content creating is actual work, especially
Yes.
if you're getting monetized.
Yeah, absolutely. And so is voice acting. I think people think we just go in a booth and we do like happy, goofy, whatever stuff. But it is a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, but it is also a lot of work. Like I voiced Aiko in this horror anime called Dark Gathering, which, by the way, season 2 coming out, confirmed. And I was spending hours in a booth screaming and begging for my life. And I remember one especially hard session. I left the booth and normally I would call my partner afterwards and I would talk to him just about my day, and we'd catch up and whatever. And I was just like, hey, I actually, like, I need a moment. I need to breathe, because it is hard on the soul. It is like incredibly hard on the soul, and it your brain does not really know the difference between um acting at a certain point. Your brain thinks you're actually in that, so you're releasing all those endorphins and the cortisol and all that. It's stressful, but yes, I'm long-winded answer. I'm very, very, very happy to be able to take care of myself and my passion.
One more question. Any last minute advice you just want to throw out there?
Um, take classes, and not gimmicky classes either. Really watch out for that, because there are a lot of people who want your money, and they're going to give you the same regurgitated advice as a $40 class that you can take at your community college. Support your local theaters, take classes from them. Support your community colleges, take classes from them. I'm currently taking classes at a community college. Take classes. And don't think that because you can do a really good impression, that that's going to get you roles. You are not going to get booked to play Monica Rial. They're going to book Monica Rial for a Monica Rial voice. Same thing with Goku. They're just going to book Sean Timmel. The best thing you can do is sound like yourself. You want to stand out. You want to be an iconic voice of your own.
Enjoying officially day one for KomoriCon 2025.
That is a great question. I love it. I have never been to Portland, never been to Oregon, and yes, I love the fall foliage, like the trees, the colors. I'm from Texas, and so we don't get any of that. It's
hot weather, rainy, muggy weather, all that stuff.
yeah, it's like green one day, and then like it's all gone the next in Dallas. So like here, I looked out the window this morning and I was like, but the cosplays. I was just saying that before we started the interview. The cosplays are incredible. There are so many people coming to the convention, so many amazing costumes to see, and people dressing up, and like it's Halloween on top of that, so we're seeing even more things, and it's really, really cool. I'm having a fantastic time.
So, mind telling the folks at home who may not be familiar, what do you do and how long have you been doing it for?
Right, so I'm a voice actor in anime, and I've been in anime since about 2018. That was the first year that I started voice acting.
Almost 10 years now.
Hopefully not almost 10. It was 7. We're getting close, yeah.
We're almost there.
we're almost there. I don't want to quite hit that point yet, because then I'll be like, oh, I've been doing this so long. But they would know me from One Piece. I play Perospero. In Blue Lock, I play Jingo Raichi. Campfire Cookie in Another World with My Absurd Skill, I play Makoto. I'm Hajime Umemiya in Windbreaker. But I've been in about 300 shows now, and so I've feel like I've been very lucky.
That's so long.
Yeah.
So, like, what made you want to get into this? Like, what's been like the kind of like trying to think of the word? Yeah, what's it been like just doing this whole thing for as long as you've been doing it for?
Yeah, so the thing that initially made me want to start being a voice actor is I saw Andy Serkis's performance as Gollum in Lord of the Rings and the Two Towers. And I'm not even joking. I was in 8th grade when it came out, and it was a life-changing moment. Like, I saw it, and I was like, I can't believe somebody can do this with their voice. And so at that point in time, I started doing voice impressions for my friends. And I was like, look, I can kind of do voice impressions of this, this, and this. And then I really locked into voice acting when I was an undergrad in college. I did a lot of stage stuff, and I was really invested in like the voice side of things. So I started looking up like what's a demo reel? Like, what cities are good places to be a voice actor? And Dallas eventually popped up on my radar, and because that's where Funimation was. And so I moved to Dallas in 2017, and I got my master's degree in acting. And while I was doing that, that's when I started voice acting at Funimation, which is now Crunchyroll.
So what's it like, the difference between acting and then just what's life like outside of acting? I imagine completely two different things. You're not having to be like super busy, because I imagine with what you do, I imagine you can be pretty busy.
Yes, so I was just talking to some of the other guests about how quickly my schedule has filled up over the next 2 weeks. And it can go the way that acting works, right? Is that every time you book something, like you have to audition for it. And so sometimes, though, there will be people who you worked with before who will just be like, hey, we want you in this. And you say yes to it, and you're like, great. But sometimes you said yes to that thing like 3 months ago. And then they're like, hey, we need it now. And they just give you a shorter deadline on it. And so a lot of things just happen to like hit it once, which is great, but also very stressful. And that's where I'm at right now. But other times there will be like a couple weeks where like, oh, I really don't have to do much. So it gives you more flexibility as an actor to do things. But when everything hits at once, it can be very, very stressful.
Oh, I believe it. And I imagine this has probably had a big impact on you for the time you've been doing this. Like, for you, what's it like? Just the overall feel of it and everything.
I love it. I love acting. I love voice acting. I feel like I can be somebody else when I'm doing it. You know, that's the cool thing about it. Like a lot of the characters I play recently have been more like villain-esque in a lot of ways, which I never thought would be kind of like an archetype I would play.
Definitely like range from like going from like hero type character to like
yeah.
What's the range like between doing like hero and doing like a villain?
Well, what I'd like to say is every character that you voice is like put in a different box. You know, some characters have much bigger boxes to play than other characters have much smaller boxes. Like this character I play in Sword of the Demon Hunter is a character called Jinya. He's a samurai in Edo, Japan. And the box in which Jinya I can like do things with my voice is about this big. Because he doesn't get that big unless it's for like a big fight scene or something. Where there's a character like Sparrow in One Piece, you know, he's a villain. He goes up and down and all over the place, and it's fine because that's what villains do. And you're allowed to do that on certain. Yes, and what I love about it is that every character is different, but like everyone is kind of just in a different little box.
Right. So I know there are people who always want to get into voice acting, but they're not sure, or there are some people, and I imagine you've met quite a few who just do it for the money. What advice would you want to give to someone who wants to get into voice acting, and where should they start and everything?
So there's a very, very long and intricate answer to this question, but it would take like 45 minutes to explain.
Well, what's like the
short thing, I will give you the absolute necessities for being a voice actor. Acting training is huge, like absolutely massive. A demo reel is necessary, and ability to like turn in auditions. So like microphone, preamp stuff, things like that. All that information though can be found on an amazing website called howtobeavoiceactor.com. D. Bradley Baker's website. More information than I could ever give somebody. It's very well detailed, and there's a lot of great information on there. But like those are the three things you absolutely have to be a voice actor.
And I know also, I'm sure you've seen it as well, when someone's wanting to get voice acting, especially like on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, people are always like looking for people to do auditions for like an audiobook and stuff like that. What kind of advice would you want to give someone who wants to try out, for one of those like fan-made projects?
So it can depend, right? What I like to say is like every different type of voiceover work is a different kind of genre. So like animation is different from video game, different from audiobook, different from commercial, promo. Yeah. They're all different from each other. And so they all require very specific kinds of things that the other one does not require. If you're looking for audiobook stuff, particularly, the best thing you can do is listen to other audiobook narrators and see how they're doing. Because if they're doing it, it means they got hired because people like what they're doing. And so you steal big. You don't want to be like, this is a direct copy of this person. Right. But, you can get a good rhythm. Like, okay, so like the rhythm is kind of like this. The character voice is kind of hitting these particular ranges. How does a male actor also do the female actors within, or the female characters within audiobooks? That's something I'm still learning to do as well.
I feel like just like an artist, every actor has their own unique style as well.
Yeah, everybody's different, and everybody's voice is unique, and that's what makes voice acting so cool.
for example, how did you go about doing the one for One Piece? Did they kill you, or what was the process behind that? I'm kind of curious now.
So my character in One Piece Sparrow, his whole thing, I try to be as true to the J as I can for most characters, because like it pays homage to their performance, but also we can give it a little bit of English spin. So Sparrow, I believe, is based off a character in an old musical called Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. There's a character called the Child Catcher, and he has a really long nose. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all don't see it, but everyone's like, yes. There's a character called the Child Catcher. He's got a really long nose. He wears a top hat. He's got lollipops, and he lures kids into this cage and then sends them off to the King of Bavaria to work in the mines. Yes, and his voice in English is very much like, "Children, come get lollipops and ice cream." It's like much higher. But for One Piece, one of the things that makes all the characters special is the laugh. So Sparrow's laugh, that it sits in the back of my voice. So I'm like, okay, if I try to talk from that area and I add that sort of, okay, so if I talk from that we end here. So candy, lickety-lock, things of that nature.
I imagine that can have some straight chew on your voice sometimes, especially like the yelling or like the crying.
Yelling in particular. Yelling and screaming, you got to be careful. Yeah, but most other things are pretty chill.
And now last question, just any last minute advice you just want to throw out there for anyone listening or watching this?
You can do it. Whatever it is, I believe in you. Whether you want to be a voice actor, whether you want to, I don't know, build a rocket ship, I don't know, be a cobbler. We need more cobblers. There are not enough cobblers in the world. That's an incredible profession, and it sounds really cool too. Yeah. But you are cool. Thank you for watching this interview as well, if you're watching it all the way till the end. Yeah. And the biggest secret is... Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, of course.
So, Jill, how have you enjoyed KumoriCon 2025? It's been a very lovely day. The rain's finally gone for now.
Yeah, it's my first time in Portland, and gotta say, I'm a fan. Truly, my parents have like a camper van, and they just kind of drive all over the U.S. and like camp. So what I do is when I go to a con in a cool place, I'm like, hey, Mom and Dad, you need to go to Portland. It's awesome.
I'm sure they would love it here. A lot of great places.
Yes, and the food is so good.
I've actually had some of a local place the other day, and it was so good.
Yes, and it's just like gorgeous, so picturesque. I've been like taking so many pictures. So yeah, I'm really honored to be in your city, and I'm having a wonderful time.
That's good to hear. So for mine, telling the folks at home, how long you've been doing this for, and what made you want to like this? Like, what was like the inspiration, and what made you want to get into acting?
I've been doing anime dubbing for about 10 years, but technically I've been doing like voiceover for 15 years because I started when I was 15. How I figured out I wanted to do this, I was just like a really nerdy kid who watched a lot of cartoons, and one day I realized that there were people behind the voices and that was a job and you could get paid to do that. And I was like, oh, well, that's what I want to do. Like other kids were like, I want to be a fireman and whatever. And I was like, I want to do the voices in cartoons.
Like you get to voice a fireman.
Yeah, like voice all of the things. And then I've always had kind of like a high-pitched, nasally voice, and some people have poked fun at it. But I was like, perfect for cartoons, you know? So yeah, just kind of ever since I was like 10, I got really like focused on it, and I think my parents hoped that I would grow out of it, but I never did. Oddly enough, I'm quite lucky. When I was 14, I found out that like one of my cousins was a voice actor in Nashville. She does mostly commercials and audiobooks. Melba C. Brill. She's very prolific. But yeah, I was like, oh my God, we have a voice actor in the family. And she only lived like an hour away. So we went up to her house. She showed me her home studio. She pulled out some commercial copy for me to read and stuff like
Ooh.
that. And, just to try out the voice acting thing. And I think my parents were hoping that she would let me down easy. But at the end of the day, I was like, well, this is something I'm interested in pursuing. What do you think, Melba? And she goes, I think you've got what it takes. If I were you, I would move to LA when I turn 18. That's what I wish I had done. And so my parents were horrified, but that really incentivized me. So I started saving up my money. I built a home studio in my closet.
Ooh, I noticed a lot of voice actors like to build like in like that one decent sized space.
It's actually a really great place to record. Even if you don't have like a lot of great sound treatment, just your clothing is really good at dampening sound.
Good advice.
But yeah, so when I was 15, I set up a little studio in my closet, and while I was all throughout high school and college, I was going home after school and recording auditions, recording projects. I actually earned a bit of money doing it, and made some friends, made some connections. And then when I was 19, I moved to Texas because I wanted to work for Funimation specifically. They were my favorite anime dubbing studio. One of the first anime that I ever fell in love with was called Kadocha.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
It's not a lot of people know it, and you should watch it because honestly, the dub holds up. Like I was rewatching it.
Good chunk of dub does hold up. Phenomenal.
And so, what's interesting, I watched Kadocha, and then shortly after, I watched Fruits Basket, and it's like the same cast. And
It is, yeah, because Little Bailey voices the main character in Fruits Basket.
Jared Jewell, John Bergmeyer, Colin Clinkenbeard, and that's what was so interesting to me. I was like, wow, there's a really talented group of actors at this small studio in Texas that are doing some really cool things, and like nobody knew what anime was outside of Dragon Ball Z, but I was into the niche stuff, and I was like, I want to be where the people are. And so yeah, I saved up my money, and when I was 19, I moved, and shortly after, I started working there.
Nice. So I know it seems like you've had a long, prolific career over the years. I mean, from like you said, anime, and then I know I know a lot of people are familiar with you as the voice of Charlie from the pilot of Hospital Hotel. How did you get about going out working with someone like Bitsy Pop and everything?
So Bitsy Pop just tweeted out a Google Doc. Anybody who finds this Google Doc.
It's usually how I've noticed. That's how like it goes nowadays. Like people will post on Facebook, Twitter. It's like, hey, looking for this and this and this, and
yes. And so yeah, I actually had a friend. He was a fan of Bitsy Pop, and he saw it, and he was like, "You seem like you would be good for this." And I was like, "That looks like a lot of fun." So a lot of people don't know. I recorded Hasbro Hotel in my closet, in my home studio. So yeah.
What? And you already answered one question I was going to ask about the type of impact it's had on you and everything.
Yeah. I try to like I'm much better. I used to like really downplay my achievements, but I'm trying to just acknowledge and so I'm so grateful, and like truly this is my dream job. 10-year-old Jill would be stoked, like she'd be losing her mind right now, and it really is such an honor and a blessing to be here. Thank God I was successful. I don't know what I would have done otherwise. I didn't have a plan B, but yeah, I'm so thankful to be here. And it's what's interesting is I found anime when I was 10. Military family. I moved to a new place, didn't know anybody, was bullied. And so I found comfort in anime, and now I have 10, 11-year-olds come up to my table and be like, I watch anime when I get home from school, and I was really sad, and I watched this one, and it made me feel better, and so um, just to be a part of that, and to do for someone else what anime did for me. I think the anime community is a really can be a really healing and
Oh,
accepting
I
space.
I completely agree. Like I feel like as kids, school was rough. None of some of us didn't have a good chunk of friends, but we found that escape into anime, and I feel like to this day it's still not just an escape, but I feel like it's also mentally good for someone to watch one of their favorite shows like you did as a kid, and like how you said people are coming up to you like I watch anime and you're my favorite, and your characters are my favorite and stuff like that.
And I feel like there are, in the modern age, it can be hard to find community. And I feel like anime conventions and fandom in general is just a great space to find community. And I know a lot of people have, some of their best friends they've made through fandom. Yeah.
Okay. What kind of advice would you want to give someone who may want to get into this? Because as I always mention and ask, some people think, "Oh, it's voice acting. I can do this easily. I can money and this and fame and," but they don't. That's I know I know it's kind of stereotypical, but I know there are some people who just see voice acting as a means of getting famous and making money, but that's not all what it's about.
That's so funny because the pay is not awesome.
No, I appreciate your I
uh,
appreciate your honesty though.
but what's strange, anime has blown up. God, especially One Piece,
Oh
um,
yeah.
but so we make most of our money at cons because the pay is a little bit weird, and we don't get royalties or anything like that. Um, but just recently, have people been going, oh, this is something that I can do to get money or famous or whatever. And even when you're successful, you don't make a whole lot of money. Like it's I'm not like they're like the Chris Sabbats and stuff with
Oh yeah.
200 people
And
in your
they're
line,
like
but
they're like now doing they're at that point where they're wanting to retire, but they still want to teach the next generation of voice actors and everything. So that's why like Pam D. Bradley Baker have like classes and everything.
which is a good way to get to learn is through classes, which they didn't have those when I was growing up. But oh goodness, the question. What was the question?
Um, Advice.
Advice. Okay.
I had to
Yes.
think about that for a minute.
Well, I like to say, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Um, you should have seen me growing up. I was so shy and so quiet, and I had like zero self esteem, and I was so awkward. And moving and pursuing this really stretched me, took me out of my comfort zone. But I was passionate, and so I think if you truly are passionate about the work, um, you can be unstoppable. And most of the actors that I do see that are successful are anime fans themselves. And a lot of the new actors entering the industry right now are anime fans who, like me, got into it. Got into did theater and did all sorts of acting, but wanted to get into this type of acting specifically. Whereas a lot of the older guard, Lucy Christian, Monica Rial, Chris Sabat, were just actors in the area. And then they were like, oh, anime, I don't know what that is, but I can get paid
But
for that.
now, I mean, Monica Rial, she's voiced hundreds, Chris, Sean, and all of
Anime
them.
royalty.
Laura Bailey, Troy Baker, they're all.
But a lot of them, they were theater actors working in Dallas, and they just kind of fell into it. They didn't
And
necessarily know.
they didn't have like what we have nowadays, where you can go online and like, oh, I'm a writer animator looking for people to voice in this. If you're interested, please here's the Google Doc, like you said with Busy Pop.
However, I will say, because some people are like, oh, well, I don't want to do theater because I want to do voice acting. All types of acting helps. All types of and what I learned in theater has been so beneficial to me. And like every actor you talk to is going to say do theater, and theater's really accessible because it's school. They have community theater, college. It's a lot more accessible.
And
than,
like your local
just
improv,
on camera.
local improv nights at a bar or something.
Yeah, and even just like so I one weird thing that I did was local radio stations. I was like, "Do you guys have ads? I can record ads for you guys for free. I just want practice." And they were like, "Yeah." And so just sometimes just like ask people. You could do free voiceover. But yeah, no, if you're passionate and weird and obsessed about it, like I am, you will be unstoppable.
That's a really good sound advice. I think that should about. Yeah. Again, Jill, thank you so much. And again, I love the outfit
Thank you. You too.
so much.
So, Kieran, how have we been enjoying day 2 of the con? And we can also see that it's finally not raining anymore. How's it feel to be back?
It feels good. I love Portland. I love the Pacific Northwest. I lived with my wife in Vancouver for a while, and I mean, I love everywhere in this country, but there's something real special about the Pacific Northwest. It's so pretty, and I don't mind the rain because I'm not living in it all the time now. I'm from Dallas now. We need a little rain, so it was nice to wake up to that actually on my window. That was really nice. Yeah. Oh, it feels like home. I'm from England too. It's just rain and fog, and it just feels great. I get a little sad in the winters, but Dallas has been taking care of that with its sun. So yeah, it can get pretty cold too. Yeah, I asked a lot of Dallasites, like, when do you get used to this? And they were like, get used to it? Like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh gosh, I'm sorry. But no, I love it down there. I mean, this country's full of just really cool, interesting places. Like driving through Utah is wild. We drive everywhere, so we really get to see the country. Like, we don't do a lot of flyovers, so it's been really cool. And coming back to the Pacific Northwest is like, listen, you can hear the tram. It's so beautiful, guys. Give you your mic back. There you go.
So, how long have you been doing the acting for, and what made you want to get into it and everything?
As a kid, I was that dramatic kid who would like. Okay, my mom walked down on me. I was like 3 years old. I'm sprawled in the middle of the floor. I'm crying. I'm sobbing my heart out so hard. My back is going up. And my mom looks at me and she's like, "Oh my gosh, dead name. What's wrong?" I looked at her and I was like, "Mom, I'm Snow White and I'm crying in the forest, okay?" And she was like, "Oh, okay then." So like I've always wanted to like act, but I think growing up trans and not realizing I was trans, I never felt like there was like a place for me in that. Really leaned heavily into some other creative endeavors, and fell into voice acting. Just was given an audition for a British character. They really wanted that British accent. They were auditioning a lot of Americans. They couldn't quite figure out what subset of England they wanted this character to be from. And I knew Joel McDonald really well, who was the voice director for Borderlands. And he knew me, knew my accent, and he was kind of like, "Can you like do a recording of this accent? So like we can listen to it, and then we can listen to these auditions of these Americans doing this accent." It's like, cool, yeah, no worries. So I sent it off, and about 3 months later, he was like, "Yeah, we need a Brit for this. Like this needs to be a British person." So I fell ass backwards into voice acting, and I love it. It's enabled me to discover being an actor, but being an actor in a way that is really comfortable. I can play lots of different roles that I may not necessarily fit physically, both male and female. So it's been a real awesome way to dig into that creative side of myself. I've been doing it since, oh gosh, when was that? 2018, so pre-pandemic, and then I moved to Dallas in I believe at the end of 2019, roughly, sort of, to work, and it was amazing. It was wonderful. Thankfully, I was working on everything and then getting it all set up. But yeah, I love the challenge of dubbing too, like matching flaps and matching emotions and getting to help tell these stories in English and help get across what the Japanese message is, but a little more localized. It's such a fun challenge, and I love it so much. Like, I'm so grateful I get to do this.
So you've done many voices, both male, female over the years, characters for more friendly, family-friendly shows, games, and then more adult-oriented type stuff. What's the similarities and difference between doing more kid-friendly content to more, 18 plus voice acting content like Borderlands and some of the stuff you've worked on recently?
Yeah, in the booth, it's kind of nice because the attitude doesn't really change. It's kind of like you're just working on what you're working on. A lot of the 18 plus stuff I've done, Borderlands was very unique because we got to do a lot of, what do you call it, like improvisation. And you don't really get to do that, especially with dubbing. There's a lot of like, you have a writer.
I've noticed so much how much improvising and everything, and I just like I can tell that was not scripted.
No, like I think it's Handsome Jack's line about the pretzels, totally unscripted. He was just eating pretzels in the booth, and and they said go, and he wasn't ready, so he just went with the line. And I love that about that series is that you really do get to just like play and have fun. And then we moved from Borderlands 3 to Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and that had a lower rating. I don't think that one was mature. I think that one was a rating under mature.
It was like more teen.
It was more teen. I think it was T for teen. I think that's what rated T for teen. It was Borderlands, but there's little things that you learn about, like, there's lines that I would normally mess up, like saying something was in someone's bottom instead of on someone's bottom, and apparently that's where the line is for 18 plus. It can be on, it cannot be in. So it was interesting to kind of tone myself out of Borderlands mind and get into a little bit more of like, this is the same character, but I'm kind of like making them a little more friendly for the kids. I haven't done like a lot of like super duper 18 plus stuff. The stuff I have done, the people I've worked with have been so amazing. They make it very comfortable in the booth. It's very non-weird.
There's some 18 plus content. There's some lines you have to say. Some stuff.
Yeah, like.
Is it awkward, or is it just like this come normal when it comes to like the 18 plus shows and games and stuff?
I do a lot of audiobooks too as well, so it's like a lot of there are some scenes that have like maybe more mature content and stuff, and it does come naturally. You kind of get into the mood of the character, and then you kind of roll with whatever that's doing. I know some actors that I was talking to someone the other day who said I disconnect in the booth. I really disconnect from myself. I really fall into my body in the booth, and I need a lot of aftercare after rough rolls and like stuff like that. So I go in and I try to just sort of, it's like embodying the character and the rating, if you will, because it's like with anime. I mean, it's very much like kind of PG. I think is a lot of it universal PG is usually. We sometimes hit M, like, but it's a lot of like, the booth feels the same. Yeah, it's just your friends and you're working on something, and yeah.
And like I said, to another actor, it's pretty much. I'm sure you can agree with this. Just like art, you're also your voice is a tool. You're utilizing it in so many different ways. Just like if you were to draw stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. And it's different characters. It's like different parts of your voice too. So it's like, and I'll typically dress in a way that helps inspire me for the character. Not like cosplay or whatever, but like when I was playing Aoi in Awashi, he's like a young spunky soccer boy, and so I'd wear like jean shorts or shorts that were kind of like pulled like down, and like I'd wear like a baggy t-shirt, and I'd be really like kind of sunk into myself. Same time I was recording Richard for Requiem of the Rose King, and I would come in and I would be in more like streamlined like jeans, and I'd have like a kimono style wrap that I wore that just helped me feel a little more regal. So like I'll kind of dress for the part a little, so I physically feel a little more. That's the other thing is I love remote versus being in the studio, because I work for LA remote and I've worked indie remote, and in Crunchyroll we'll go into the studio and work, and I have a lot more room at Crunchyroll to like move my hands. Like if I'm cheering, I'll always it gives you the physicality, right? Like you could go yeah, or you could go yeah, and you'll really feel like it comes across in the acting. Like you really notice like, oh yeah, it felt like they were really moving their hand. There's also like little tricks we do. So like to get strained, you can kind of like pull your hands like a little like this to get that like straining sound. I'll throw my arms around, but if I do that in my home booth,
there's a chance you're gonna either hit something or hit yourself.
I have a vocal shield. It's a big
those are like those
vocal
I
shield.
see. Are they like the big glass
purple,
ones?
No, it's a big purple foam one,
Ooh.
and I'm banging it constantly. And I'll do a great take, and halfway through I hear this pop, and I'm like, no. So I prefer to go into the studio. Also, like, you get more of that like back and forth with the director. I love that feeling. I love remote, and I love that I get the chance to do it. But there's something cool about being in a similar room as the director, seeing their face when you say a line a funny way and you physically see them crack up in the control room. Like it really helps. Like
I imagine, especially with like COVID, a lot of like actors we're doing remote stuff, and I imagine that was for you for like a good chunk of 2020, 2021.
I did. I started Requiem of the Rose King. I both had COVID, and I was just coming off the tail end of COVID for my first episode, and we started remote. It was my first time working with Sean Gann, he's a theater kid first and foremost, and he's very much about the chemistry and the connection. We retake a lot of lines to really get the feel of it, and working with him remote I'm so grateful, because I was also working with David Wald, who's an amazing person, and working with directors that were able to kind of get that feel even though we were remote was wonderful. Like, I'd love it if remote worked out more for more studios. Like, there's so much talent out there, like, and I've done the move to Dallas. It's really hard, it's really tiring, it's really expensive, and I'd love it if more people could. I love seeing the mix, of like everybody. Crunchyroll, yeah, we're Crunchyroll now. We're orange, we're not purple, which makes me sad because purple's my favorite color. But yeah, Crunchyroll, a lot of it's in studio. Like, I know we have people flying in from LA, and they work with a couple boutique studios over there. But I love seeing more talent from like LA and New York, and yeah, it's really cool. And like, I love when we all get to work together, because typically it's there's a couple studios that really will try to like mix us all together, but it's always nice when you get to throw in someone who's a little different and maybe has a different style, and it gives something more to the anime or the show or the game, right? Like,
so two more questions. What kind of impact has this had on you? Doing the voice acting and everything. Like, what's it personally for you like?
When I fell into it, I just realized I was a dude. Like, I just transitioned. I was just on my journey, and I was like, that was 2018. So yeah, 2019. It was about a year in, and I always kind of like told myself, like, and my wife worked with me, and we were like, look, you're probably going to book a lot of girls. Are you okay with that? And I kind of went through it, and I was like, yeah, I think I just want to act. Like, I don't think I mind what gender the character is. It's whatever suits my voice. Like, that's what voice acting is, right?
Whatever you're most comfortable.
Yeah, but I do know a lot of trans people that would rather not tap into that side of themselves. Kaylee McKee is wonderful. She will do the hottest sounding chick and then like the grisliest old dude, and I'm like, girl, you're so cool. Oh, the range.
A lot of actors. It's amazing. We got
Yeah,
male actors who can do like teenagers, and you got like
male actors that can do women as well, like cis men.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
You
and
got the women who can do like the young boys, or then like for example Laura Bailey.
Oh,
Monica Rial,
yeah.
their range is-
Monica Rial's range is what? Monica's a great, and I've known Monica for years, and she was kind of like a bit of a mentor. Like, her and Jamie were always like really sweet with me growing up, and like when I was coming up in the industry, and like Ian Sinclair, and like a bunch of them I'd known them from cons, from being a musician. But that was what I was expecting, was like a lot of female roles, and I can't book females to save my life half the time now. I have some directors like Sean Gann and Caitlin Glass and like Jason Lord. There's a bunch of them that are like, let's try Kieran with a girl. Let's give this a shot. And it's really fun to do something different, but it's such a different voice. The biggest change, I think, that was one of the biggest ones for me personally, was I didn't expect to be able to play. I mean, I was like, I really want to play a romanceable, quote unquote, like dude in a show. I was like, I'll give myself like, 2027, 2028. That's a cool goal to like have that, like really allow people to see that like I could do this, make sure my voice can carry all the emotion in that range. And I did it in 2024, I think, with Tomo-chan as a girl, as Misaki.
I actually
Yeah.
speaking of, actually talked to one of your co-stars a while back.
they're-
Lexi, really
Oh, Lexi. She killed
great. I
that role.
for like the range she had, and like I was actually recently watching, thanks to my friend who showed me so much chance to grow the range she do as Cap is phenomenal.
It's really cool. I really love that as a trans guy I'm able to do it. I think the biggest personal effect like that it had on me was I didn't ever expect so many trans kids and their parents to come up to me and just say like because being behind a booth was I didn't know how to do it at first. Like I did like music signing quick, but it was really cool to meet all these people and to meet their parents and to just talk about what it is to be trans in this industry and to show them that there's space for them too, and that the industry is open to them. Like directors aren't going to laugh at them. There's some way for you to do this, and I love that. I love that if I'm able to do that for people, like that is the most rewarding part of this job, is seeing other trans kids being like, I can see myself in this. Like that's been wild for me, and I'm just so grateful that they can see that. Like.
I think I should do it again. Kieran,
Yes,
thank you so
thank
much.
you so much, man.